Hi, blog. Hi, class. This is the last one. This is actually probably one of my favorite one for so many reasons. I'm so excited. This is actually my last assignment that I'm doing ever for undergrad, under undergrad. So this is very personally exciting for me. And then obviously, we're talking about W.E.B. Du Bois, man. This blog has been about breaking down sociological perspectives uh, and incorporating them into Black Lives Matter, um, specifically mass incarceration and police brutality. And WB Du Bois is sort of, I would say, the sort of sort of the person who founded this founded. I mean, people say that Marxism is what Black Lives Matter was founded upon, but I feel like it's more WB Du Bois, honestly. Um, this his perspective really drives home what Black Lives Matter honestly kind of stands for more than anything. And their belief and the belief one of the beliefs that goes right along um with WB Du Bois and his belief is the fact that European cultures tend to oppress those who are, of darker skin tone. He believed this, and we see that obviously with mass incarceration, with the for profit and the capitalist state. We started with mass incarceration and how the oppressed are usually used, you know, and people who are incarcerated are usually used for profit to make money, as well as to take their rights away. So in so many ways, that was his belief, and it's still happening today. I mean, he really kind of gave up on society, on America as a whole, at the end of his time, and he believed that America just, I mean, it wasn't salvageable. Ultimately, and the other thing that I think sticks out from WB Du Bois is this idea that the you really can't experience what it means to be oppressed unless you're in that position. Those who are benefiting from oppression could never fully understand it. When when you hear all most Black people in America today, not all, because we don't all think alike, we don't all experience the same things, but primarily the bulk of the Black experience, we kind of all see it through a similar lens that know that unfortunately most of our European counterparts don't see it from don't see the perspective. We don't see the long They don't see the long lasting effects of things like Jim Crow and slavery, mass incarceration, all these things that have done huge bad things to not just obviously our community, but I mean, you look at the Native American community, you look at the communities from Hawaii that have been exploited, for American profit. Native Americans who their entire cultures and tribes have been extinguished. I mean, this is something that you know, unless you're in that position, you don't understand. You don't have that lens, and that's what WB Du Bois believed. And I think that to me, this is the best perspective, to kind of encapsulate what Black Lives Matter and what mass incarceration and police brutality even kind of goes hand in hand. When you look at police brutality being, when W.B. Du Bois talked about how the media can portray the worst parts, and you can see the worst parts of Black America. And when I say, when I look at police brutality, I don't just think about cops, necessarily going out and sitting up there saying, hey, we're gonna go out and kill a Black man. I believe all of that a lot of that has to do with the circumstances that Black people have been put into as a disadvantaged community, and the drugs and the the stereotypes that follow the Black community as being violent. You see it in movies, you see it in newspapers, you see it on the news. I mean, how many times do you turn on the news and you sit up there and you see a Black face dead from gun violence? But the reality of the situation is every race dies from gun violence from those of somebody of the same race. It happens to everybody. What happens is violence happens with when it happens to the people who you are in close proximity to. So every race kills each other. Unfortunately, black people do kill at a higher race, but it has everything to do with the trauma, the uh, the trauma that black people are dealing with and don't know how to cope with, the disadvantagement of not being able to go out and seek proper help and proper health care, and the disconnect that we have with police. I mean, from decades and centuries. I mean, you got to understand the first sheriffs and police departments were, I mean, they were primarily, that some of them were slave catchers. So there, when you think about the civil rights movement, you've seen it you've seen it, you know, people being sprayed, with water hoses back in the civil rights movement. And when you look at mass incarceration from 1980, 1990, and then when you just talk about today, anytime a black person, most black people are pulled over, especially if you're pulled over in a neighborhood, you can tell it has a longing effect, and that sometimes you're being pulled over just because you fit a description. I had a friend over the weekend who had SWAT pull up on him at while he's at the mall in Kenwood in Cincinnati, and they pulled up on him, knocked on the door, and said he fit the description. He fit the description, whatever that description. They never told him what the description was, but they said he fit the description, and detained him for almost 20 minutes for him to not know. I mean, for what? That's not right. And these are the type of problems and situations that black people go through. So this is what W.B. Du Bois was speaking to when he talks about those stigmas working internally, and those stigmas need to be broken, and broken so that lives can be saved, and now obviously that we can all come together as people. Seriously, we can't come together until the worst parts of our community are not publicized. You know what I mean? And unfortunately some of that is our own doing from the standpoint of rap music. It's in our music as well. So I mean, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. This was probably my favorite blog to do. I had so much to talk about. This was W.B. Du Bois is definitely probably one of my heroes. One of my heroes. I hope everybody stays safe. Everybody have a great Thanksgiving. And keep working. If you're about to be done with school like I am, congratulations. If you're almost done, keep pushing. Push to be great, and protect each other. Love each other. See you guys later.